Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 2 of WCW in the Monday Night Wars. Today we are picking up right where we left off, just coming off Nitro, and just a quick little recap of the last show. We had Sting and the Giant defeating Hollywood Hulk Hogan and the Outsiders, so that was a 3-on-2 handicap match. That gave us an 81. Of course, there were some angles mixed in here, but we'll just recap the matches. Ric Flair defeats Curt Hennig to win the WCW United States Heavyweight title. So that match gave us a 78. Luger defeated Buff Bagwell. That kind of tied up some loose ends on that feud that was going on. And what else do we have here? We have Eddie Guerrero defeating Rey Mysterio for the WCW Cruiserweight title. That gave us a 73, so that was a great match there from Eddie and Rey. And the Steiner brothers defeated Harlem Heat to retain the WCW World Tag Team titles. Goldberg defeated Scott Norton, and DDP won a Battle Royale, which got a 70 overall rating. So basically, we've established a developmental territory. Of course, we have the power plant, but that's a dojo. So I've done a little bit of research, and I found out that NWA Wildside was actually a developmental territory for WCW. So that's the way we're going to go. So we need an owner and a head booker for our developmental. So let's just take a look at what we can get. So let's see, Clive Cannell. It doesn't seem that great, but it looks like he may be the only person we can offer this to. So, let's bring him in for 3 months, see if we can find someone else in the meantime. And just have to check out here. So not him. That's not bad. Actually, we'll offer him the job. Alright, so we got ourselves a new owner in Clive Cannell, and we have a head booker in Kendo Nagasaki. I hope I pronounced that right. So, and we'll just take a look at our developmental roster. I sent a couple people down. We have Alex Wright, and then that's our owner, Evan Karagas maybe? Hammer, Ice Train, Juventud Guerrera, Kidman sent down, Lenny Lane, Louis Piccoli, Prince Ayuka, I guess, and Psychosis. So we have WCW Saturday night coming up in 4 days, and according to TEW, this month's pay-per-view is World War III. So it's telling me that we have a title for World War III, and it is a tournament title. So this is held every November. I'm not sure how accurate this necessarily is to real life, but given the fact that TEW is telling us that this is a tournament, that's the way we're going to go. As you may know, in WCW, Big Bossman wasn't necessarily referred to as Big Bossman. He was Ray Traylor. So I think that Big Bossman resonates more with me, so I'm just going to go with that. A lot of people I won't change. Like, I will keep Steven Regal as Steven Regal, although I know him more as William Regal. We will keep him as Steven Regal. And I'm not sure if I changed any others or not, but we will see as we go along. So back to TEW. WWF has made a contract offer to Fit Finlay. Okay, I think we may have actually encountered this before. But we don't want Finlay going away. We don't want the WWF picking him up. And we have some decisions. Okay, so here we go. Bill Watts. Bill Watts will be coming on board. We have Danny Spivey. A lot of these guys too we're bringing in either for developmental. It could be some older guys coming in to maybe share some of their popularity with some of our up-and-comers. I don't think any of the big names that we necessarily went after have signed here yet, but we will see as we continue to go through here. So let's see, Ray Ramsey. I brought in a bunch of referees as well. I'm not sure exactly how WCW's refereeing system was at this point in time, but I found a bunch of good referees who weren't working anywhere. And that's another thing too, especially with people that I'm bringing into our developmental. If they have a current contract, I'm not going to bring them in. I'd rather them work there and try to develop their skills, you know, on a bigger scene maybe than our developmental. However, if they were WCW guys, I went ahead and brought them in. And for the most part, I also avoided a lot of WWF's big prospects, although they were free agents. People like Edge, Christian, the Dudley Boys who are in ECW, and even the Hardys who are currently with their Omega company. So yeah, I, for the most part, avoided all those WWF guys. So we'll continue on here. Bob Dismore, complete this contract. Super crazy. So this is a guy that, you know, we really wanted for our developmental. Masahiro Tanaka. So we're bringing in some Japan guys as well. I know some of them were involved with WWF, but we're going to bring them in here. Sema, another guy who's still working these days. Like I said, a lot of new referees. Some of these guys are going to developmental, some straight to the main roster. So yeah, we still have a bunch of contract negotiations out there. We have Bret Hart, Sid Vicious, Warrior, Sylvester Stallone, Chuck Norris, British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, Jim Neidhart, Rick Rude, Adam Sandler is a guy that we could bring in for a backstage personality. Also good at announcing. I believe color commentary actually may be his strong suit. Butterbean, a guy we can bring in to share some pop. Dan Severn, I know WWF had him, but you know they didn't really have him that long, and I think we could make something out of Dan Severn, so I'm gonna bring him aboard. Donald Trump, not entirely sure what plans we may have for him, but we want to try to bring anyone who's got a bit of popularity who can help us, you know, get some of our younger guys over. Maybe Trump comes in as a manager, backstage personality perhaps. Maybe he comes in as in a position of power, like a general manager or some role like that. I know we have Bischoff and he's pretty much the general manager here on Nitro, but maybe we could do something with Trump. Who knows? Dutch Mantel, you know, he's a good backstage guy, also manager. Eric Watts, Fit Finley, who we're trying to retain. You know, we have some young guys here like Homicide, King Kong Bundy, another guy, Kevin Green with some popularity, Marty Jannetty. I mean, I know that this seems like a lot of offers to have out there, but for the most part, we're either sticking these guys in developmental to be trainers, to see if they've got anything left in the tank, or they're only here on like a 3 to 6 month deal just to get over some of the younger guys. So just don't be alarmed that we're seeing all these other offers out there. I know it looks like a lot, but you know, there's a plan, so just don't worry. We're not going to flood the roster. Alright guys, it is time for our first ever WCW Saturday night, and we will take a look at the venues. Let's see, how is our popularity? We want to try to target some areas that are important and our popularity isn't necessarily that great. So these are usually pretty easy places. We'll choose this place here. Okay. And let's check out the incident that we missed. Let's check this out. Incident involving Raven. Oh dear. Raven lifted the locker room when he organized and then won a video game tournament. Okay. So based on past experience with Raven and some other saves, I thought this may be a drug issue, but maybe this is before all the drugs became an issue for Raven. So that's a good thing. So, that's going to lift the morale of the locker room a bit. Okay, so the backstage rating went from a 78 to a 79. So that's pretty good. Alright, so we have our venue selected, and now it's time to make the card. Alright, so we have WCW Saturday Night booked, and we are about to run the show. Alright, so first up we have Paul Roma coming in on a 1-day contract, and he is defeated by Chavo Guerrero Jr. for a 49 match. Chavo Guerrero with a 63, Paul Roma with a 32. Alright, so then to open up WCW Saturday Night, we have a backstage segment where Chris Jericho walks in on Roddy Piper, who's talking to Lex Luger about how annoying Chris Jericho is. So apparently earlier in the night, Chris Jericho was asking Roddy Piper for some tips or, any little pointers to make his game better and to become the same level of superstar that Roddy Piper was throughout his career. So we see here the Jericho turns heel storyline advanced, and a potential heel turn for Chris Jericho was hinted. And I think we'll just go ahead and we'll complete the turn here, and it was successful. So we have Chris Jericho, who is now a heel. He walks in on Roddy Piper talking to Luger about how annoying he is, and of course Chris Jericho does not like this too well. So Chris Jericho talks to Bischoff, and he is able to organize a match against Lex Luger. So we have Chris Jericho defeating Lex Luger in 9 minutes and 13 seconds by a lion tamer after botched interference by Roddy Piper. So Chris Jericho and Lex Luger have great chemistry, so that's nice. The job done by Robert Gibson was pretty weak. What is Robert Gibson announcing here? I think that was supposed to be Roddy Piper. Piper not suited to his gimmicks, so that's something we need to fix. Jericho turns in a 78, Luger turns in an 80. So, yeah, booking decisions. Cap for short length, okay. And, well, Robert Gibson was not supposed to be in here announcing, so that was a mistake on our end. So it seems like they could have went a little longer. I wasn't sure with Lex Luger being old and all. However, 78 and an 80, so that's good. That's good for the storyline, and I think that's something we can revisit in the future. So, next segment we have Ted DiBiase, and he introduces his newest client, Bill Goldberg. They issue an open challenge, and that is accepted by Scott Norton, who is defeated in 9 minutes and 3 seconds by pinfall after the spear. So we have Goldberg performing at 65, Scott Norton performing at a 60. And Goldberg's streak storyline has advanced with this segment. Moving along, we have the Steiner Brothers. They come to the ring and issue an open challenge to any tag team out there, with the exception of Harlem Heat and the Faces of Fear. So they think that they've really got it in the bag here. So they're eliminating the top 2 tag teams in their mind out of contention here. However, they are met by Ultimo Dragon and Rey Mysterio. So Ultimo Dragon and Rey Mysterio are able to defeat the Steiner Brothers after 17 minutes and 29 seconds when Rey Mysterio pinned Rick Steiner following a springboard hurricanrana. So there was also some interference in this match. We had Booker T and Stevie Ray taking out Rick Steiner. We also had Meng and the Barbarian taking out Scott Steiner. So we'll just take a look at some stuff here. Rey Mysterio had a 72, so that's nice. Ultimo Dragon with a 66. Rick Steiner with a 77. And we have Scott Steiner with a 90. And both storylines advance with the segment. Okay, so moving along. We have another freestyle segment backstage where Bischoff meets up with Hogan and the Outsiders. So basically, he is telling them that he's been told by Turner and corporate that they need to trim the size of the NWO. It seems to be getting a bit ridiculous at this point in time, and Ted Turner has officially come down to Bischoff and said, listen, you need to tell these guys to get their shit together. We don't want to dilute a product. So this is Bischoff basically delivering the message to Hogan and company, telling them that the NWO needs to be trimmed. So moving along, we have another backstage segment. We have DDP and his wife Kimberly talking backstage, and they are interrupted when Disco Inferno trips and spills his coffee all over DDP's wife Kim. And Disco Inferno, of course, is very, very arrogant here, blaming the whole situation on DDP, and DDP does not take to this too kindly, and we have a heel turn confirmed for Disco Inferno, and it was a success. So a 66 rated segment. DDP not suited to his gimmick. So that's a couple we have here now, and I will make note of that. That's DDP and Roddy Piper. Okay, so we have note taken, and we will advance to the matchup here. We have an 80 overall matchup. It's a one-on-one cage match. DDP wins the World Television title after 1552 by pinfall following a diamond cutter. So we have DDP with an 85 overall match, and Disco Inferno with an 53. So DDP obviously carrying in this matchup, and Disco Inferno getting an 80 overall ranked match under his belt. Alright, so our main event segment, we have Sting, and he is up in the rafters issuing a challenge to Hollywood Hulk Hogan for the World Heavyweight Championship at World War III. So Sting mentions the help that he's had from the Giant in taking on the NWO, but from now on, he's going to do things on his own. He wants Hulk Hogan one-on-one at World War III, and he wants the World Heavyweight Championship. So a 93 segment, and we'll end our show there for a rating of 86, and no comments to be made about the show. So that's a good thing. Alright, so with Saturday night, or WCW Saturday night, out of the way, we will now take a look at some more additions to our roster. We have heard from Sid Vicious. This was a guy we were banking on. Sid Vicious will be joining WCW. However, we also have Warrior. Warrior will be coming in as well. He will start off as a face. So we have lots of new people coming in. Chuck Norris, another guy. He will come in as a face. Rick Rude, another good guy on a mic, good manager. And yeah, so once he heals, he may even return to the ring. So another big signing. Butch Reed, Butterbean, he's going to be a nice one for exchanging some pop. Donald Trump, could be interesting to see what he's able to bring to the table. Let's see, Jimmy Snuka, Kevin Green, another guy with some pop to share. King Kong Bundy, the Iron Sheik. So lots of fun people to come in, have a match or two before they leave again, and hopefully give some popularity off to the younger guys as we move along. Alright, see what we have. And Bret Hart has decided to join WCW. What a pickup for us here. We will complete that contract. Scott Hall's wages is increased. Kevin Nash. And Bret Hart cannot participate for another 23 days. Okay. We also have Dan Severn. Alright, so we are here now Monday in week 2 of November, and we have some more signings. It looks like Davey Boy Smith will be coming over, Jim Neidhart, Adam Sandler, so he's going to be big for backstage segments, and or we might fit him in as a color commentator. Haven't quite decided. Greg the Hammer Valentine, Paul Ellering will come in, Jushin Liger. However, we were only able to get him on a pay-per appearance deal, so you know, it's good to have him in the lineup anyway. Yokozuna, you know, basically, well, besides David Boy Smith, we have a lot of people to share the pop. So we got some vets coming in to work with our young guys and have their match or two, and then they'll be on their way. Alright, so here we are, WCW Monday Night Nitro. And let's get things underway here. Okay, let's see. WCW Locker Room Incident. Backstage rating up to 99. Wow. I guess we've really been doing some things right in that regard. Let's see. Incident involving Sonny Ono. Sonny Ono lifted the locker room when he organized and then won a video game tournament. Awesome. So that's the kind of stuff we like to see. We like the backstage to be amazing, and here we are 100%, so can't ask for much better. Let's see. Once again, we're going to try to focus in an area that we're kind of lacking, but is of high importance, and we're going to take it to the Mid-South. So we'll just throw a little filter on here. We want to get around, our normal 1400. Let's say 1300 up to 18. Let's just see what we have. So we could take the Verizon Center. Yeah, let's go with the Verizon Center, I think. We will select that. Okay. And now we'll build the card. Alright, so let's take a look at the results of Nitro. Okay, so the first segment we have on the pre-show, we have Fit Finlay and Steven Regal taking on Glacier and Ernest Miller for a 60 overall match. We see Ernest Miller and Rocky Johnson are a very poor combination, do not click at all. So that's something we will have to fix. Yeah, so some debuts here of gimmicks that were above average. Let's see, Regal with a 62, Finlay with a 62, Glacier with a 49, and Ernest Miller with a 42. So not bad, 60 overall on the pre-show. Okay, so up next we had Harlem Heat taking on the Faces of Fear. And Stevie Ray and Jacqueline Moore have great chemistry, and Booker T would be better off without Jacqueline Moore as they simply do not work well together. So, seems like we're having a few more managerial issues, which is fine. It's good to get that out of the way. Good to get that out of the way now. We have... Okay, both Steiners were, hinting at a heel turn. And let's see, into the match here, we had Booker T performing at a 70, Stevie Ray with a 65, we had Meng with 60, and... the Barbarian with 60 and Meng with 65. And of course, it was just good. 71 overall. And we're going to handle some changes. So we're going to turn Scott Steiner. It was a success. And we're going to turn Rick Steiner. Okay, so the turn was compromised. We've had a lot of turns starting off, which is kind of hard because we're just picking up this company. So we want to make some of our own moves, but I guess we'll have to hold off on future turns. But anyway, the Steiners are now heel, and Harlem Heat picks up... Actually, wait, no, there was a double DQ. That's what happened here. So, no, actually, Faces of Fear defeat Harlem Heat. Okay. So, Faces of Fear defeating Harlem Heat 1307 when Stevie Ray was disqualified while fighting Meng. We also saw Scott Steiner run in and attack Booker, and Rick Steiner attack Stevie Ray. So Booker T thinks he would be better off without Jacqueline Moore, and I tend to agree. Alright, so next segment. Oh, Jesus. So this segment here, we have a battle royal. I think we tossed like 50 guys in here, a bunch of people that we signed for developmental, trainers, and whatnot, just to see what we could get out of it. And Goldberg, of course, picked up the victory. Other members of the Final Four were Butterbean, Warrior, and Teddy Gorey, with Butterbean being their final elimination. So Goldberg picks up a win here, 69 overall. we'll take a look at some gimmicks over here. Okay, so anyway, we'll have to go back to here. Jake Roberts was wasted on drugs. Okay, so didn't piss off too many people. Okay, so we're going to kick off Nitro now. We have Eric Bischoff coming to the ring, and he announces the signing of Sid Vicious. And as the crowd react to the celebration, or as the crowd react to this announcement, Sid walks out into the ring, and Eric's not done. Eric announces that there's going to be an upcoming tournament for World War III. So it will take 8 contestants, and the winner will win the World War III tournament championship. So as Bischoff is talking, this graphic flashes across the screen, and we have 8 contestants in this tournament, with first round matchups between Ric Flair and Buff Bagwell, Sid Vicious and DDP, Chris Benoit and Raven, and Randy Savage and Big Bossman. So this is a pretty big tournament with a title to be handed out to the champion at the end, and the tournament starts on this edition of Nitro and will commence at the World War III pay-per-view. So just back to our card here after that segment. I don't think that we will be turning anyone right here. Do you wish to? Okay, yes. Alright, so then we have a matchup between Chris Jericho and Roddy Piper. 64 overall, with Chris Jericho defeating Roddy Piper with 9:23 by submission with a lion tamer. So Roddy Piper not suited to his gimmick. I thought we'd change that. We might have to look at that again. Chris Jericho with a 69 performance, Roddy Piper with a 71. So the storylines advanced, and hopefully Chris Jericho was able to gain some popularity from Roddy Piper. Chris Jericho did not like being in a brawl-based match. Okay, fine, we'll remember that. So, we have a scene backstage where we have Savage, and he's going to Hulk Hogan. Hogan's been his buddy for, years and years, since way back in the WWF. So, Savage is going to Hogan just to have a little pre-match talk, just to go over things, I guess, kind of like he normally does. But as he goes into the locker room, he sees Hogan and Sid hugging. So, of course, Hogan and Sid, of course, must have known each other in the past. But anyway, we see Hogan giving a big hug to Sid, welcoming him to WCW. And he says to Sid, "You're my pick to win." Randy Savage was absolutely floored and just turned around and left. So Hogan, Sid, or any of the other NWO guys, they didn't know that Savage seen all this go down. So just a little subtle hint here at the Macho Man turning face. So that was 100. That was 100 overall rating for that match, or that for that segment rather. And no, we will not be doing any turns right here. Okay, so then we have the Macho Man, and he is taking on the Big Boss Man. And this is a first round tournament matchup, and we have Randy Savage defeating Bossman by submission. Randy Savage with an 89 performance, Big Bossman with a 59 to combine for a 77 overall. For a 77 overall match. Then on to the next match, we have Chris Benoit taking on Raven. It seems as though the match went a little too long as Raven was tiring towards the end, but Raven defeated Chris Benoit in 22 minutes and 36 seconds with a pile driver. 61 overall ranked match. 61 overall rated match. We have Chris Benoit performing at a 73 and Raven hauling in a 74. So it seems as though, the match may have been a little too long, and that's probably where we lost some of our ratings. So on to the next match. Actually, we have an angle here first. We have Ric Flair and Buff Bagwell Ric Flair is celebrating in the ring as WCW comes back from commercial, and he's talking about how he put out Kurt Hennig last week and how he is going to be the greatest United States champion in WCW history. However, he is interrupted by Buff Bagwell as the two have a match coming up next. So for this match, we had Kurt Hennig on commentary, and we have Ric Flair defeating Buff Bagwell in 15:57 by pinfall for a 78 overall match. Ric Flair performing at 79, apparently seemed off his game. Buff Bagwell performing at a 64. So I think that's a pretty good match. And on to the main event, we have Sid Vicious defeating Diamond Dallas Page by pinfall with a powerbomb following interference from Disco Inferno. 83 rating. Yeah, Sid Vicious was tiring towards the end, so maybe it was a bit too long. DDP not suited to his gimmick. I thought we fixed that. I guess not. Sid Vicious with a 66. DDP with a 90. So an 83 overall match. Sid moves on in the tournament. And then, of course, at the end of the show, we see Sid and Disco. They're beating down on DDP. And then we have Hogan, Nash, and Hall. And, of course, Eric Bischoff. These guys all come out to help out. And then we see Randy Savage. Savage comes out to the stage. He sees what's going on, but he decides he doesn't want any part of it. He just turns around and leaves. But the finishing image of the show, we have Hulk Hogan and Sid Vicious with the NWO standing tall over DDP. 100 rated segment. And let's see where that places our show. A 68. Wow. I was not expecting a 68. The crowd was not happy as they expected more angles and more interview segments. Like we had 1, 2, 3, 4 big segments. We had to fit everything else in. 68, wow. So that gained us popularity in 19 regions and lost us popularity in 19 regions. So I guess it equaled out, but I'm still not happy with that result. But, you know, I think we got a fair start on some of the storylines, and we'll just see how it goes. Alright, now that Nitro's over, let's check out WWF Shotgun Saturday night first. We had Goldust defeating Mark Marrow for 72. We had the Headbangers defeating the Godwins for 56. We had a backstage angle with Sonny and Vince McMahon. I wonder what's going on there. 66 overall. Brian Christopher defeated Scott Taylor, so trouble in paradise there already. 49 overall. And backstage segment with Sable and Chyna for 68. So 66 overall. Not bad. And let's take a look at Raw is War. They have a 77, so they still beat us. However, main event, Vader defeating Bret Hart, so I guess Bret Hart is doing the job on the way out. Owen and D'Lo ended in a no contest for 73. We see HBK and Undertaker, 82 backstage segment. Triple H defeated Scott Taylor for 67. A backstage brawl between Mankind and Bret Hart for an 80. Farouk defeating Miguel Perez for a 64. Billy Gunn, The Rock, and Steve Austin backstage segment for 74. HBK defeating Taka Michinoku, 75. And another brawl angle involving Vader, Kane, and Triple H. And on the pre-show, Kama Mustafa defeating Flash Funk for 60. And Steve Blackman beating Bart Gunn by countout. I guess that's it for this show. We did manage to get WCW Saturday night as well as Nitro. And on the next show, it will be the week 3, so maybe we can get the pay-per-view as well. So yeah, hopefully on the next episode, we can get in World War III. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe that's an episode of its own. But until then, I hope you enjoyed the episode and continue to tune in. We have lots of cool storylines. I apologize for the hiatus. Been pretty busy lately, but you know, even when I'm not putting out episodes, we're always thinking about stuff here. So, you know, we have lots of plans for this series. So, you know, keep tuning in and give us a like and a comment. Any suggestions at all, feel free to leave below. We like listening to our fans. So if there's something that you guys would like to see, just let us know. And if we think that it's suitable, we will give it the green light. So, as for now, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have a great night, everyone.